It's very strange. We have noticed since the lifting of the arms embargo in December last year that there's been a lot of importation of arms, and this is not just at the federal level but at the FMS level. We've noticed that there was incident in Galmudug where there was weapons coming in from Ethiopia. Very recently, a couple of weeks ago, we saw some equipment coming in from Ethiopia again to Puntland, and then today we've seen the equipment that's landing in Mogadishu from Egypt. So there seems to be some increase in arming different FMSs or individuals around the country, and I would believe that this is because the weapons embargo has been lifted and there is no clarity on what the rules are, so everyone is rushing to arm themselves. First of all, there's always been quite a huge number of arms in Somalia. But the sad thing is, at this point where the weapons embargo has been lifted, we would expect that people now begin to trust the system, and that the government, the federal government and the federal member states are the ones who would get the monopoly of power, monopoly of weapons, and be the ones providing security. But in the contrary, we are seeing that people are actually not trusting that, and because of the arms embargo being lifted, they're taking advantage to now arm themselves. It means there's a deficit of trust, which is very unfortunate. There needs to be trust-building measures, confidence-building measures in the government and in the federal member states, so that individuals can believe that these weapons that are now being brought in will not result in an arms race of sorts, but really in the government providing security. The lifting of the weapons embargo, took a lot of time. It required, a lot of engagement with the international community. We went through a lot to get to the point that we are. And if you see that this proliferation now increases when the embargo has been lifted, it brings to the question: was it the right time? Was Somalia ready? And I think our partners will start to question: did we do the right thing at the right time? And so it's really the onus is on the government, the central government, to ensure that these incidents are managed. There is like an immediate shutdown of such proliferation, and there is a response to the international partners to build that confidence and to sustain the confidence. The worst case scenario would be that the international partners start to question what is happening in Somalia, and do we really need the weapons embargo lifted, or would we have a reversal of that? That's a worst case scenario that I see happening. The issue between Somalia and Ethiopia on the MOU has caused a lot of issues, and one of them has been the arms, the entry of arms into different FMSs purportedly by Ethiopia. The federal government has released statements and asked Ethiopia to stop undermining Somalia's security. And this was something that was always debated. Historically, Ethiopia has provided arms to militias that were supporting it in the fight against Al-Shabaab in Somalia. Now this is a different case where it's providing it to federal member states or individuals in federal member states. So the lifting of the weapons embargo, I think, has contributed to other actors now independently providing weapons without fear that the United Nations Security Council or any other international partners would clamp down on them. So I don't think this has helped our matters in Somalia at the moment. This current shipment by Egypt, of course, comes at a time when Somalia and Ethiopia are having issues. Egypt has had an opportunity over the past 20 years or even 17 years that we've been fighting with Al-Shabaab to provide weapons. They have not provided weapons. The timing of this is obvious. It is clearly a signal to Ethiopia that Egypt is going to be supporting Somalia in whatever conflict that erupts. And so we cannot look at that, independently. We can't look at it as the usual military donations that Somalia receives. But what's sad is that now partners and others are all independently acting to continue to arm Somali stakeholders. At this point, of course, it's the federal government, and we assume the federal government is using it to fight Al-Shabaab, but this also resulting in others acting independently and arming themselves in response to that. So I don't think it's helping matters at all. I think this needs to be managed very carefully.